Hello, and welcome to What is Demography? Created and recorded by Mark Grigg for Charlotte Christian College and Theological Seminary. Demography is the study of human populations, where we're born, how we live, where we die. The study revolves around three main areas: fertility, migration, and mortality. Fertility is quite simply how many offspring a couple have in a community. Migration is when one group of people move from an established area into another area, usually crossing a border, whether it be county, state. We think of it as country to country. And mortality is really what it sounds like. How many people die? If the population is growing, there will be more people being born or migrating in than are dying off. And so the statistical analysis of these three events is demography. Fertility can be affected by many things: money, education, religion, whether or not you live in an agricultural rural area versus a city dweller in an urban environment. What affects migration? Migration can be affected by financial reasons, education reasons. It can have to do with looking for a job, leaving one area to another. Also, in this environment and in this time, war seems to be a huge factor. We have flocks of people leaving areas to avoid genocide. When we talk about mortality, of course, war will affect that. Obviously, poverty levels affect that. But where you're at in the world affects that. Lifespans differ from country to country based on medical availability, medicines, skill level of the doctors, readiness of food, industrial pollution, and obviously religious implications fall into that. How does the demographic circle work? Typically, societies begin located next to natural resources. They are agricultural in nature. They raise livestock, and they live in family units with very few other people in close proximity. Next, trade begins to occur between small family groups. And this leads to more interaction between the individuals, which eventually leads to more community bases. So what we have that it develops eventually is that agriculture then feeds into the cities, and cities are usually the places where industry is developed. As industry develops, then technology then makes it back into the agricultural base, requiring less and less people in order to supply the same amount of foods. As less and less people are needed in order to grow the agricultural requirements, there is a migration towards the cities. As the cities begin to fill up, what you notice is that on the paths in and out of the city, they will develop suburb areas. This is where people live and then commute into the city for work, but maintain a lifestyle slightly outside of the city. What do we do with the information now that we understand it? Birth rates and deaths can be tracked over a period of time to determine trends which will allow us to predict how many people are going to be in a particular area and how that society is going to grow. Based on where they locate to and where they cluster around in those cities, then tracked over time, you can determine growth patterns and growth trends. This allows you to determine future migrations. What do we do with it from a church standpoint? We can determine where to put new churches, the ministries, the age groups that will be affected, and a 5, 10, and 15-year growth, as well as style of church. For existing churches, they can know who is there, who's going to be there, the age groups they have to minister to, and they can help get their 5, 10, and 15-year plans in place. That's why demography is important to us as a religious community.